which is talking about why people who were Muslim have become Christians.
Yeah.
So when did Islam first appear on your radar?
It first appeared on my radar when it became sort of, I knew there was Islam existed when I was living in Nigeria, but when it became on my radar, it was after 9/11. After the 9/11 events happened, I was 17 at the time, I remember it vividly when it happened. It seemed about 2 years later, it seemed that everyone was coming to Islam. I remember there was a lot of talk about people converting to Islam, it being the fastest growing religion. And because I was not trained in it, and some of the arguments that were presented, look at the Christian West. You know, they wage war, they say they're Christians, but look at the immorality of society. You know, sexual promiscuity seems to be rampant around society. And I thought, that is true. We claim to be a so-called Christian nation, but look at the sexual immorality, you look at the abortions, you look at the nightclubs.
So you got strawmanned?
Yes.
They basically identified all the corruptions of the West with Christianity,
yes,
and then said, that's Christianity,
yes,
why not become a Muslim?
Yes, exactly.
I'm sure you're not the first. So when did you take Shahada?
I took it...
and where, if you remember?
I took it in my college,
yeah,
and it was probably 2 or 3 weeks after speaking to the imam of my college.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had an imam talking to you,
yes,
you had nothing to come back with.
Yes.
Right, okay. So what caused you to doubt?
It was something simple. It wasn't anything apologetic or anyone produced an argument. It was more of a case of something as simple as trying to pray. Now I remember when I was a cultural Christian that if I wanted to pray, I could speak in English. I could say, God, I'm going through some tough times, please help me. But as a Muslim, I thought, what do I say in Arabic? I can't speak Arabic. You're telling me to recite words that I don't know the meaning of. And that's what caused these first doubts to appear to me.
The first doubts?
Yes.
Yeah. So from those first doubts, describe the journey to the point where you decided to leave.
Well, it was more of a case of I couldn't take the rituals anymore. I'm doing all these things over and over again, and it became more of a chore than a relationship. Then it just fizzled out, and I guess in a period of maybe a month or two, I just said, you know what, this is not for me, you know, and I just simply just walked away.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How did you end up becoming a Christian?
Well, it was just more of a simple case of I just finished university, and I was in that point where I was scared. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had what we call an existential crisis, and at the time, this was back in 2007. There had been a lot of stabbings. There had been a lot of footballers having heart attacks, and I just had this sense that I'm going to die. Something bad was going to happen, and I needed answers, and I was just literally shook to my core. And how the journey started was I was playing semi-pro football for a semi-pro football team in South London, and a Christian reached out to me, and that's how the journey started for me. So he gave me Luke 4 about where Jesus talked about setting the captives free, because my mind was like, I'm in a prison right now and I need something to get me out of there. And from there I started to think things deeply. I started to read the Proverbs. I started saying, hang on a minute, this book has some real wisdom about this. Where has it been? It's answering my questions, the questions I've had all my life. And obviously you enter the rabbit hole, and all of a sudden
I get that. So what would you say to those people who are thinking about becoming a Muslim now but haven't yet taken Shahada?
Yeah, I would say to them is this: Christianity is true. The evidence for it is overwhelming. In fact, if you study it from an objective perspective, there is no doubt that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. There are questions that we have, and the problem, I can see that people who find Islam attractive, I can sympathize with you from that aspect, but there are answers to the questions you seek. Like Jesus said, if you seek me, you shall surely find me.
Amen. There we go.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, he took Shahada.
Yeah.
When did you take your Shahada?
Well, like I said, I've already answered the question. That will be on the...
Oh, people leave Islam.
How many people?
I don't know.
Do you know the number in the tens of thousands?
What's your proof?
My proof is, for example, the Save Mariam project in Indonesia. Do you know about the Save Mariam project in Indonesia?
I'm not aware of it.
You're not aware of it? It's basically a project that's responding to the success of Christian missionary efforts, because so many Muslims are becoming Christians in Indonesia.
In Indonesia.
The Muslim community there is trying
What
to
is
organise a
Indonesia?
response.
What is Indonesia?
I don't see how that's relevant to the question of whether
But it's
Muslims
my
are becoming...
question.
Well, Indonesia is a nation state.
Yeah, but it's also known as
A nation state,
the largest Muslim country in the world.
correct? With the fastest growing Christian population from Muslim backgrounds.
That's what you claim. What's your proof?
I've just given you my evidence. From being
I know you
safe
have
married.
claimed something, but you haven't shown me anything. I wouldn't like to be in your...
Well, if you don't want to be filmed, I don't want to be filmed. So.
Wait.
No. If you put him on camera.
Put him on camera. If he's gonna film me.
If you're going to film, you're going to get filmed.
So you said you were ex-Muslim.
Yes, I was. Yes,
Where did you take your shahada?
I took it in college in 2003.
It doesn't have to tell you which college.
No, of course not. I'm just
That's
asking you because I
personal
want to find out.
Okay.
Just a nice conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
your question is based upon the assumption that no one ever leaves Islam, and everyone who leaves Islam and gives their testimony is lying. Are you
I
saying
didn't say that. There's many people that have been exposed. There was a girl here. She said she was Muslim before.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube.
And how do you know she wasn't?
Because when she was asked to recite the Fatiha,
What
she
does
said
that prove?
she said she grew up as a Muslim.
What does that prove?
Every Muslim that grows up as a Muslim
let's deal with that
can
question.
recite Fatiha.
So you're saying
Yeah.
that every Muslim,
Yeah.
because they are a Muslim,
Yeah.
can recite Fatiha. That's your logic.
That's one of the smallest surahs.
That is your logic. That because by
A
definition,
Muslim, by definition, a Muslim is one who prays.
so by definition, a Muslim
Yeah.
is someone who can recite the Fatiha. No, put him on camera.
A Muslim is one who prays.
Right. So let me ask you this question: if someone has a bad memory and cannot remember the Fatiha,
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about
Why are we not?
someone who has a.
Why are we not?
We're not talking about that.
No, you
I
have
never
just
claimed
said,
that.
You have just said that a woman, because she couldn't recite the Fatiha, yeah, that means she wasn't a Muslim. How
No.
do you know that that just means she didn't have a bad memory?
because she was able to recite other things
Oh, so she was able to recite other things.
from the Bible, but not from anything. No, nothing from the Quran.
And so what?
So how does that prove she has bad memory?
If Arabic isn't her first language, why should she be able to recite it?
No, every person who's a Muslim prays. Yes,
Not necessarily.
where a Muslim is defined by
do you
one
pray,
who prays.
Do you pray 5 times every day without fail?
I can't
Be
say
honest
I do.
before Allah.
I can't say I do.
So because you don't pray 5 times a day, does that mean that somehow you're not Muslim when you miss
No.
those prayers?
No. To be able to pray, you have to be able to recite Fatiha.
So to be able to be a good Muslim, you have to be Arabized and recite in
How does
Arabic.
that mean you are Arab? I'm Somalian.
said
I'm
Arabized.
No, I'm not Arabized. I'm a Somalian.
And what language do you pray in?
Arabic.
Arabic. So
Why
you're
do we
Arabized.
Why do we pray in Arabic?
Why must I, as a Christian,
I didn't say
become an
anything.
Arab?
Who said you have
Why
to?
must I adopt Arab ways?
It wasn't about you. It was him claiming to be Muslim.
He was claiming to be Muslim. That's correct.
But did you ever pray?
I did pray.
So you're able to recite Fatiha.
Why? Why?
You prayed. You're able to recite Fatiha. You prayed, so you must be able to recite Fatiha.
I recited it. Yeah.
Can you still recite it?
No, I can't recite it because it was a long time ago.
How long was a long
Gladly.
time ago?
You're talking about over 10 years ago.
Over 10 years ago.
So now let me ask you this question. Yeah. He stopped saying that. He stopped reciting it over 10
You can
years
forget
ago.
it. If you don't repeat
So
things,
what have you proven
if you don't
by
repeat
your question?
No,
Am I touching you?
sorry,
Don't touch me.
but I wasn't touching you rudely. Sorry.
What have actually inappropriate intimate touching of my arm is, don't answer this question.
Yeah.
What have you proven by asking him that question?
I haven't proven anything. It was just
Thank
a
you
simple
very
question.
much.
It was
You've
just a
proven
simple
nothing.
It was a simple question.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. But it also proves that
What go on, what does it prove? What does it prove?
if you prayed quite a lot and you dedicate yourself to Islam, you should be able to memorize Fatiha.
So in other words, you've proven nothing.